She's a Mona Lisa. Everyone's lining up to see her. She's a Mona Lisa. Everyone's lining up to see her. There must be something that features. You'll find the beauty goes much deeper.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Tierra Nicole. If you're new here, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. If you're not new here, welcome back. As you can see by the title, I'm doing a story time today. This is my first story time on my channel, and my story time today is going to be about how I was pregnant at 17 and what went into it. I just hope that people who view this story time can get inspired to make the right choice for them, or also just look at this and make better life decisions, because at the time of my life, the decision that I made, I felt like it was the right choice for me. I'm not endorsing or co-signing anyone to have an abortion, but I would definitely say make the right decision based upon your life. So let's get into this story time. Basically, this happened, I am 28 years old. This happened 11 years ago. So let's start from the beginning. I was in the 10th grade and I lived near a subway, like not a station, but the subway, the restaurant. One day I decided to go to Subway and I met this guy there. He worked there. I remember specifically I ordered like a chicken bacon ranch sandwich, and he got my number. At that time I did not think he was attractive at all. I just was like, oh well, thanks for the sandwich. Matter of fact, I don't even know if the sandwich, I think he still made me pay for the sandwich, but he allowed me to jump the line. But either way, I was not feeling him. So I had wound up cutting my hair off in the 11th grade, I want to say. And I was walking to the bus stop so I can go to the beauty supply store to buy some hair. I was rocking a Rihanna cut, like buy some tracks for the front of my hair. And while I'm at the bus stop, this handsome guy was crossing the street looking so fine, and my hair was looking so busted. I'm talking about like I look crazy. He had a fresh cut on crossing the street. In my mind I said, please Lord, don't let this guy approach me, like, cause I look so crazy. So of course he approaches me. Hey, how you doing? You looking nice today. He like, wait a minute, I know you. And I'm like, you did? He like, I got your number before, remember I'm from Subway. And I'm like, oh yeah. I'm like, look at karma, because I thought he looked busted at work. Now he looking at me and I look busted. So we exchanged numbers, we got to talking. Come to find out, he was like 3 years older than me. So at the time when I was in high school, he was in college. I was still a virgin, very much a virgin. I had 2 other best friends in high school, and we all made a vow that we was not going to lose our virginity in high school. So until 12th grade year came around, okay, I'm just going to put it like that. So me and this guy, we was talking, we was vibing. I thought he was pretty cool. I thought I was cool for talking to someone in college, and I'm just only in high school. He would come pick me up after school. We would kick it, and that's about it. Until one day something happened. He had to go away for a while. He went away for college, and when he came back, let's just say I made a poor decision, and we started to have a sexual relationship as well as be in a relationship. So I remember the particular time when I got pregnant and all. He had just gotten home and I had some Hennessy. I stole Hennessy out my parents' liquor cabinet. Don't judge me, whatever. I brought it over to his house. We was drinking Hennessy. It went down. It happened. Fast forward, it's like a few months later and I realized I did not come on my menstrual. And this is new to me because I'm new to having sex. My mom, I mean, we had to talk about the birds and the bees, but she wasn't like, you know, I don't know, it wasn't in depth. So I'm just going off of hearsay from my friends, from this and the third. One day I'm just like, I think it was this one picture I took. I hope I still have this picture. I took a selfie one day and I'm like, bruh, my nose was literally wide and my boobs were like huge, and I'm normally like a size A at that time. Fast forward, I'm in 12th grade too, by the way. I'm not in 11th grade anymore. I'm in 12th grade when all this is happening. And I just realized it's been, honestly, I don't remember how many months had already went by. Like, I literally, it just dawned on me one day, like, I did not come on my period. Like, what's going on with my body? It was almost like instant. Well, I had told him like, hey, I didn't, you know, come on my period. He like, what? First of all, his dad was super strict. Okay, my parents weren't strict, but I knew how far I could go, and they weren't like super lenient either. So in my mind, I'm like, oh my god, this can't be happening. I said, it just must be something going on. Like, this just can't be happening. I go to the store, I take a test. I will never forget this day. I took a test, I go in my room. It say wait like what? How long did it say? Like 5 minutes? I don't know. However long it say wait. Y'all, when I looked down at that stick, I started to bawl. Like, bawl, like, y'all, I'm talking about snot bubbles. Like, it was giving Viola Davis. Like, is that her name? You know, the actress that really knows how to cry. It was giving that. Like, listen, the thoughts that were going through my mind was, what am I going to do? Hell no, I can't tell my parents. My parents don't even know I'm having sex. They knew I had like a boyfriend. His dad was super strict. We were not in no predicament to be having no baby. Like, I'm trying to graduate high school. He's in college. Like, first of all, we were broke. We didn't have a job. Oh my god, like, he just was like, we're gonna get through this together. I think the first thing that came to my mind was like, I can't keep this. And it wasn't because I thought my parents wouldn't be supportive. It wasn't because I didn't think he would be supportive. But it just was like, in my mind, I felt like this wasn't the time, and I did not see my life. I did not see my life playing out this way. And as I get older, I'm not the author of my story. You get what I'm saying? So it was a really tough time, and it almost seemed like instantly after I found out, everything started to make sense. Like, I had just started working. It was probably like my first week at work, and I just kept wondering why I had to keep using the restroom. I'm the type of person who, if we go out, you probably see me use the restroom maybe once, if that. Like, that's just not how I operate. I kept going to the restroom, I kept having this distinct craving for, at this time, KFC had like these buffalo wings or like these buffalo chicken bites or whatever, and that is the only thing I craved. I literally, oh no. Then one day, me and him was hanging out. I literally asked him to take me to KFC, and I had a bag of Doritos, and I was dipping the Dorito chip in the mac and cheese from KFC. And to me, it was the best thing I've ever had in my fucking life. Like, oh my god. So everything's starting to make sense now. I'm like, oh my god, like, I'm pregnant. And mind you, I just started working, and the job I was working at, you got paid every 2 weeks. So we looked at our options. He had just started working too. His job wasn't paying him for 2 weeks, and it was almost like time was going by so slow, but it was going by so fast, because at this instance we were like exploring options. He's like, he straight off the bat was like, my dad's not going like this. My dad's not going to stand for this. And I just was like, you know, okay, like, I don't think my family going to stand for it either. But I can say one thing about my family. If I would have told them, they would have never forced me to do anything that I didn't want to do. It would have still been my choice, but I did consider his feelings in the scenario, and I did have to consider my own feelings. So we explored the option of abortion, and when I looked it up, I think like the cheapest place I could find was this place This place, y'all. Ugh, this place. I don't even like thinking about it. But the place that I went to, it was like pretty rundown. It was pretty rundown. And the cheapest option, I had a phone call. But back to what I was saying, we explored our options. And the cheapest option that we found was like $500. I do believe after 2 weeks of working, my check was gonna be like 2 something, his check was gonna be 2 something. We just agreed that we weren't gonna tell anyone, but upon looking at the website, I'm like, how am I gonna go and have surgery without my parents' consent because I'm not of age? At this time, I'm 17 years old. It's probably like, I wanna say it's like 2 weeks before prom. I wanna say it's like 2 weeks before prom. And I'm just like, I don't know if I felt guilt or ashamed. It was a feeling. I just felt like I could not tell them. Like, I just wanted to keep it to myself. On the other hand, I was just feeling like, okay, I'm grown enough to just make my own decision and do it. On the website, it did explain that if you are 16, you do need a parent, and if you are 17, they will take you if you have a good explanation. So one of the explanations being like, you have to say that like you're going to be homeless, like someone may cause harm to you if they found out, or you may cause harm to yourself if you keep it, or the baby. So I did let him know that, and he was of age, and they did say, oh, and mind you, at this time he did not have a car. I didn't have a car. My parents were going to work. I believe this day I was supposed to be at school, or wait a minute, like 2 weeks before prom. Do you even go to school? I can't remember, but whatever the case may be, it's not like I could have borrowed my parents' car. I don't think he could have borrowed his parents' car. And at the time, this man did not have a cell phone. But in my defense, back in the day, it wasn't like a, I'm not gonna say it wasn't like a priority to have a cell phone, but it wasn't like out of the norm when you didn't, like, if that makes sense. So at the time, he did not have a cell phone. And I just remember I had a cell phone, so we had to catch the bus. And we had to catch the bus, and he called me before he left his house to let me know that he was en route to my house so that I can meet him at the bus stop. And yeah, so we met up and we caught the bus. First of all, we did not know where we were going. The first time we tried to get to the place, well, that same morning, I believe our appointment was at like 8 in the morning. So it kind of looked normal, I believe. I think I did have to go to school, so it kind of looked normal. Like, I got up and got dressed as if I was going to school. And we caught the bus, and we wound up walking the wrong way. I remember he used my phone to call his sister. Hey, sis, do you know where this place is at? I guess maybe he could find it in his sister, or I don't know. Or we might have even stopped and asked a stranger for directions. And we turned around. We had to walk a good maybe like 15 minutes from the bus stop to the place. Once in the place, first of all, you know how they like show you on the movies, it's like people picketing outside and like what's the word I'm looking for, protesting about abortions. That wasn't the case. I did see a pamphlet on the way up to the place, and that's about it. I didn't have any hecklers around me, but I do remember, like, once I got there, I started to shake. Like, I was so scared. And then we could only afford to get what they call twilight, so I would be awake during this whole operation. It's kind of hard to talk about, because in this moment, I just, like, as a 17-year-old, you really don't know what you're doing. Like, you don't know. I do remember vividly, like, it was this one moment that I guess, like, we turned and looked at each other, and he probably saw the fear, like, written all over my face. And it was almost like a movie. I still remember this to this day. I'm really not trying to get emotional, but I just remember, like, the elevator doors closing, and he just grabs my hand and saying, I'm gonna be here for you, everything's gonna be okay. And in that moment, I felt like, okay, you know, we gonna get through this together. And I was just like, I was terrified. Like, I'm filling out the forms, I'm just thinking like, what if I get back there and they tell me, even though I'm 17, that the answer is no, like your explanation isn't good enough, and I'll have to go home and face this music. And I know he was worried because then he had to face his dad. And all I know is when I sat in the waiting room, I think like if I could have saw my own face, I know I had the sheer look of terror on my face. It was a young lady next to me. She was crying her eyes out. She was bawling. She's throwing up next to me. When I say the waiting room was like packed, if it was 10 chairs in the waiting room, there were like 15 or 20 people in there. Like, I cannot make this up, especially because when you go, you have to have someone with you. You cannot go by yourself. And they do tell the person who you're with that we will give you a call back when we're done, so you can come back and get this person. Like, you can't personally drive yourself there and drive yourself home. That's not an option. They will not let you go unless they physically see your ride. You can't say my ride is outside. Your ride has to be in the waiting room with you. I'm filling out the forms, and at this time I don't even know if I had insurance. I don't know. Like, before then, I have never even went to OBGYN. I have never even informed my mom that I was sexually active, and everything was new to me. And the procedure that we got, I want to say, was $500 without the insurance. If I had insurance, it would have covered, or better yet, I don't even know if I had it. If I had it, it probably would have been free. That's not how I wanted to spend my first paycheck with my first job, and knowing prom was coming up. That was like my spending money. So it was like, they called me back there into the office. The doctor talks to me, and well, before anything, they ask you, you know, how do you actually know you're pregnant? I took a pregnancy test. They come and they I think they gave me another pregnancy test, and they also gave me a sonogram. I do remember when I was getting a sonogram taken, I specifically remember the monitor being on my right side, and I was just looking to the left because I did not want to see what was going on. I didn't want to see the sonogram because I felt really like uneasy about the situation. I felt bad about it, and I do feel like had I looked at the sonogram, I might have just said I can't go through with it. But I don't know. I do know that from the sonogram, they did tell me I looked at least 9 to 11 weeks. To me, that's a really long time to be pregnant. I had just found out like maybe two weeks prior, and it was almost like I started to get an attachment. It was so hard because, and to this day, I still feel like it was the son that I always say I wanted. And I do regret my decision most times, but I do understand that everything in life happens for a reason, and it just wasn't my time to be a mom. Like, I don't want to get emotional. So I do know once I went into the doctor's office after they gave me the sonogram, just to be sure that I was pregnant, the doctor asked me my age. He asked me was my parents with me. I told him no. He asked me why, and I just was like, I remember specifically saying, I'm not going to have a place to live. Like, I don't know where I would live. Like, I don't know if he believed it. I don't know if he even cared to believe it, but he just was like, okay. I go back out in the waiting room, and my boyfriend at the time looked so stressed out. Like, I know he's stressed because, number one, he didn't want to see me go through that. And I mean, it was something that we went through together, but me specifically, I had to go through the physical part of it. And you're just in the waiting room, and people just crying and crying, and I didn't want to cry because I didn't want to make him feel bad, or I didn't want to I don't know. I wanted to kind of seem strong, and I didn't want to, but it was like such a scary situation. I've never been in a situation like this before. When it was my time to go back, when it's my time to go back, I go in the room. The room is so small. It's just like, it looks shitty. Like the walls were dirty. It just didn't look okay. Like, and here I am just laying on the bed. They tell you to prop your legs up, and they left the room. So as I'm waiting for them to come back, the lady next to me is getting a procedure done, and all I remember, like, the walls were so thin. All I remember that lady was, she just kept screaming, "No, no, no, stop!" And all I hear is she's screaming at the top of her lungs, like, "Ah, it hurts, I'm gonna throw up." I hear her throw up through the wall, and here I am just laying there. At that point, I feel like I should have got up and just left. I just was like, well, I'm already here. They gave me the medicine, and truth be told, that is one of the worst feelings I've ever felt in my life. When they came in there, mind you, I've never gone to OBGYN, so they inserting the stuff in me. They're doing the procedure, and I could feel every single thing. I could feel everything, and it was almost like the people who worked there were so emotionally detached. It just was like, you know, they performing this all day. They see people that's emotional all day. They see people that's like in pain all day. It just was like, what's going to make you any different? They didn't really have any compassion. It was just like, we done. Here's your instructions to move forward. When I got out, I remember they gave me animal crackers and ginger ale. They specifically told us, you know, I can't eat anything heavy for like the next few hours. Oh, and I couldn't eat 12 hours before. Mind you, I'm pregnant. Like, I was so hungry. I'm just emotional. It just, oh my God. So this place was right by Chick-fil-A. So upon us leaving, I was like, hey, let's stop at the Chick-fil-A, because guys, I'm so hungry. Like, I literally haven't eaten in 24 hours almost. And he like, they say you can't eat. I'm like, I'm just gonna get something light. I'm going to get like a fruit salad and maybe like some hash browns, something so light. So we chose to sit in the restaurant. We looking at what time the bus is gonna come. I don't even think we had, well, Uber wasn't out. I'm not a dinosaur. Uber wasn't out at this time. Neither was Lyft. I don't think we even had money to catch a cab, like, or did we? I think actually, I think actually we did just go ahead and catch a cab home, because as I'm trying to eat my fruit salad and I'm trying to eat my hash brown, it came up. And I remember feeling like so embarrassed, because I felt like people knew what was going on, because the place was right nearby. I'm pretty sure I'm not the only person who had the same idea to just go to Chick-fil-A afterwards and maybe try to get something to eat. And people were just looking at me. I got thrown up on the ground, on the floor. My boyfriend at the time, he looking at me like, I told you not to eat. Like, I told you. He's looking embarrassed because everybody's looking at us. So he like, there's no way we can catch the bus home. So we catch a cab home. Or I think I catch a cab to my house, and he catch the bus from my house home. I think that's how it went. I really can't remember. It was 11 years ago. I do vividly remember, like, I was bleeding like no other. Around this time, I do feel like I had heavy periods, but this was not any, like, you cannot compare this to a period. I think I don't even know if they gave me a prescription to fill or they gave me the medicine there. I can't even remember that, but I do know, I want to say I went to work the next day, or I went to work in the next few days. And I do remember I'm at work, and it was like a pain that struck me so hard. I fell to my knees. I ran to the bathroom. I am literally like bleeding through all of my clothes. I'm thinking like, oh my God, something went wrong. And I'm like, it's like, I can't say anything because I hid the whole thing from my parents. The only person I called was my boyfriend. I said, I don't think this is right. I told my manager at work, I said, I have to go home. I am sick. I get home, I sit on the toilet when I say, this may be TMI, and if you have a weak stomach, then you probably should just fast forward or click off, but just remember to come back for other videos. But I'm sitting on the toilet. I have clots coming out of me like the size of my fist, and I'm literally sweating. I'm crying. And I think my mom is in her room right across the hall. She doesn't know. I'm in the bathroom literally like about to die. Like, I just felt like, oh my God, my life is over. I kind of felt like, oh my God, this is my karma for doing what I just did, and then I didn't tell anyone, and I'm just sitting there, and it was the worst feeling I've ever felt in my life. It literally was like, and it felt so bad because the only person I could really confide in was my boyfriend. And it's like, he's not a female. He doesn't know what it means to go through stuff like that. But I could say he was very empathetic for me. I just know. I just kept saying like, please God. I kept praying, please don't let anything be wrong. Please, 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 please. Like, this place was raining down. It was just like, I'm like, I hope I didn't get an infection. Like, did they not take the baby? I don't know what happened. And at this time, the paper, I want to say the paper said I shouldn't be bleeding as heavy at the time that I was. So I'm really looking like, oh my God, like I'm distraught. I didn't know what was going on with my body. I want to say the following week was prom. I think it was, all I know is, I do know on my prom day, I was still bleeding. And I vividly remember us, like me and my friends, we went to a hotel party after prom, and me and my boyfriend fell asleep in the car because I had cramps again. Like, I just did not feel well, and I just felt like my whole prom experience was messed up. You know, most people, you like to party at the prom. At that age, you probably was like having sex after prom. I couldn't do anything, and I kind of felt like, this is exactly what I get. Felt like this is exactly what I get. This is what I get for doing this. This is what I get for going through with it. This is what I get for just not being safe. I do remember after that, anytime we had sex, we definitely used protection, because that really scarred me mentally. And some years later, like, you know, some years went by, we broke up. Some more years went by, and out of the blue, he texted me, and he actually found the receipt from the time that we went. And I was like, wow, like, why do you still have that? And he was just like, I found it when I was cleaning up my room. And it just brought back like memories. And he disclosed to me that he did tell his dad, and he told me that his dad was actually kind of upset. Like, why would y'all do that? Like, don't ever do that again. I can't believe y'all did that to my grandchild. And it's so crazy because we literally made our judgment and our decision based upon like what his family's gonna do, what my family's gonna do. He definitely was like, my dad is not going for it. So that was just like, it almost seemed like it wasn't an option. I don't want to say that because he did not force me to do something I didn't want to do, but I felt crazy hearing him say, why did y'all do that? And I'm just like, so we probably could have just, I don't know. I don't want to be a shoulda, coulda, woulda type of person, because the time has passed and the decision has been made. It has happened, and I know when the time is right, God is going to bless me with another bundle of joy pretty soon, maybe, hopefully, and maybe it'll be 2 or something. But that's my story. I hope that people who had similar situations can relate, or people who are going through anything right now can relate to this story. But my best piece of advice, if you are going through something like this, that do whatever is best for you, but also take into consideration your circumstance. So that was one of my considerations as well. Like I'm just a senior, like I'm graduating. I just felt like I didn't have anything to give. I felt like, what could I give? Like, I literally just started working. What did he have to give? I don't know. To this day, I just always think like, wow, if I would have had my baby, he would have been, at this time, I guess, what's this, 2021, he would have been about 10. He would have been about 10. And at the place that I am in my life, the experiences that I've had, I don't know if I could have experienced any of this with a child. I don't know how much different my life would have been different. Like I said, I have a really supportive family, and I know they would have been disappointed in my choice, but they definitely would have been supportive. Yeah, I hope I didn't get too emotional with you guys. I really hope that if the person who is mentioned in the story, if you're watching, I hope I didn't violate your privacy. I did not say that person's name for a reason, because we both went through an emotional time and we did have a long talk about it. And he actually, when he found the receipt, that was years later, he told me that he was still affected by it as well. But like I said, do what's best for you and keep pushing. Like, you have to do what is best for you, period. And another advice I would say is don't hide it. Like, don't hide it at all. I wish I didn't hide it from my parents. I wish I didn't. So that way I would have had more support going through the situation. And just be careful. Use protection. Get on birth control. Talk to someone. Confide in someone older. I didn't really have that type of figure in my life that I felt like I could confide in and not judge and not tell my parents. But definitely do that and be very careful. Would I do it again? No, not at this time in my life. I wouldn't. I would not do it again. I would not do it again. That place I went to needs to be closed down, because I honestly felt like they did something wrong, and I honestly felt like how they were handling people were absurd to me. And yeah, that's all I can say. I hope you guys enjoyed my story time, and I hope to see you guys in my next video. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.